Tell me if this sounds familiar. You go to Walt Disney World, you are having a spectacular time. You're going on different attractions, seeing characters, enjoying food. You check through the My Disney Experience app or some other way that you're checking photos during your adventure. And then when you check these photos, you realize that there are on-ride photos being taken of you, and you're either looking completely in the wrong direction, not paying attention at all, or the expression is just something that you really don't want and don't really feel like sharing with others. Today, we're going to fix that issue by going over not only every attraction with an on-ride photo, I'm going to take you through how to find all of these different photo ops on the rides, where to look and when during the attractions in very great detail. You ready? Let's jump into it. Let's get started with the Magic Kingdom, and let's go to Space Mountain, which is our first on-ride photo. Space Mountain does have a photo on the ride. It's great to take with friends, especially if there are 3 of you, maybe even 2 of you. You take it together, you can see a great photo for a long time. Now, where do you capture this photo? It's actually in the beginning of the ride itself. There are 2 different tracks, and we're going to get to that in a moment, but you go, let's pretend for a moment, to the right track. You turn right at the very end of the walkway. It's technically considered the Alpha track and the Omega track, but just for reference here, we're going to call it the right track and the left track. And when I say right and left, I mean as you are walking into Space Mountain through the queue and you first see the ride vehicles on either side of you. So you are facing in the opposite direction that they are going in. You are looking at the right track on your right side and the left track on your left side. All right, that's to help you make a little bit of sense of it. If you are directed to go right, you're going to go down, I believe it's called the Alpha track. When you go down the track, you get in the car, you get buckled in, you're all set to go. They check your seatbelt, make sure you're good. You start to make your way through that tunnel. Now, the tunnel is an incredibly critical part of getting the photo that you want. And imagining for a moment that you're on that right track, I believe again called Alpha, you at the very end of the a tunnel where you're going through and you're crashing through and you're about to take off in a space adventure, your vehicle is going to veer right. When it does, there's a camera at about 48 degrees from where you are looking. So basically up into your right-hand side. As you're turning, making that turn, the photo is right there. If you look kind of to your right, kind of, let's just say at northeast of where you are, that's where you want to look. You'll be able to see the camera, and it'll blind you for a moment because you're looking right at the flash. But if you time it just right and kind of just smile right at that angle, you'll be able to catch that photo. The difficult part of this one is if you go down the left track or the opposite one, you're going in the opposite direction, all right? So a better way to think about this track is knowing that no matter which side you're on, you're going towards the middle, all right? So think it out with me here. If you're on so again, we're facing away from where the tracks are going. Left track for a moment is going down the slope and then turning inward to go up. Does that make sense? Going in. They're both going to be turning into the attraction itself. So the left, if you're facing coming into the attraction and you look to your right, then that's the one that is going to be turning to the right. If you're going to the attraction and you're told to go to the left, that's the one that's going to be turning left. That's to help you remember. Remember, they're both going towards the center. If you remember that as you're getting into the attraction, it'll help you find that photo. So again, there's 2 different tracks that you can go on. Make sure you're looking into the turn, kind of northeast of where you're looking at, and you'll be able to capture the photo right there. Next up on our list is Pirates of the Caribbean. Now, this is actually a relatively new photo at Walt Disney World. You got to kind of look for it a little bit, but it's not nearly as difficult as Space Mountain, and be prepared to make some mistakes as you're going. There's always more opportunities to go and experience these again and try and capture that camera, especially with some newer attractions, which I'm going to get back to in a moment. For Pirates of the Caribbean, as you make your way through that first area where you see all the pirates who have fought over the gold, and there's that skeleton pirate that's still piloting that ship and it's all broken all around him. It's really cool. Dead men tell no tales. Love that. As you make your way just before the drop, you'll notice that there is a skull up on the upper left-hand side of you. That skull is going to start talking to you. It says 1 or 2 different phrases to you, like dead men tell no tales or whatever it is. After he finishes talking, there'll be a flash, and that's where the photo takes place, just before the drop. The camera itself is just left of the skull. So if you're looking at the skull, look just left to him, maybe about, I'm going to say 2 or 3 feet left of the skull, and you'll be able to see the little cutout area. It's a little black box where you're going to see that camera for you to take that picture. You have to just keep looking, just keep smiling as you're making your way. Just smile, thumbs up, whatever it is, as you're about to go, and then you'll see the flash. That's how you know the picture was taken. Next up, we've got the Haunted Mansion. Now, this is an amazing attraction. You know I love it, but the photo op is very difficult, and a lot of guests end up just looking in the wrong direction completely as they're ready to go on this attraction, which may be fun. Maybe that's what you want. want, but at the same time, I kind of like to know where the camera is so I can look right at it for that photo, which is always a lot of fun. Now, as we go on this attraction, and I went several times to try and make sure I got the exact right information for you, you're going to have to time it, right? There are 2 spots where you can get a photo. Technically, as you're making your way initially in the doom buggy, you make your way down, you go down that hallway going sideways with different pictures on the wall, right? You'll see the ship and the lady on the couch and all that. And you'll remember from the past, there's always lightning right there. That lightning is now the flash for the camera. The problem is there are 2 cameras there. They get 2 doom buggies at the same time. You'll have to know which doom buggy you are in the cycle to understand where the camera is. This is actually more difficult than you think. I have missed this many times. So if you don't get it right the first time, don't worry about it. These are some spoilers here. As you make your way down that hallway, you'll start to get used to it. But if you notice that the 2 cars ahead of you are getting the flash at that time, you are the first car. Okay, this is again very difficult to understand. But you're either further away from the flash or closer to the flash. There's only 2 spots you could possibly be in this long train of doom buggies. Again, super difficult to understand. You'll understand once you start playing with it and trying it for yourself. But if you're, the car next to the one being photographed, you're the secondary car. This is going to be super hard to understand, so the best way is to just look at one of the 2 photo spots. Where are they? They're located right to the bottom left of each of the 2 photos at the end. 2 framed photos at the end of this hallway, right? There's I think it's the ship one, and I think the other one is the Medusa one. You'll notice there's like some curtains hanging down right by the, again, left side of the frames. Look at the small little square at the left side of each frame. Don't look too low or too high. Just look at the kind of left-hand side, bottom left corner of those frames. It's either the far one or the close one. Those last 2 frames, knowing which one you are just takes practice. But once you get that photo right, it can make for a great little gift to send to a friend. Say, hey, check out what I did on the Haunted Mansion. Next up, we've got Splash Mountain, and this will be changing in the future for sure. But the photo takes place as you go down that giant plunge to get away from Brer Fox and Brer Bear. Now, as you go down, you'll notice the camera spot is actually up and to your, if I'm thinking about it this way, it's to your right, I believe. So you want to look for, or it actually might, no, I think it's to your right. You look at the little white boxes. There are like 4 or 5 of them. Little white boxes, either on the right or left. I'm pretty sure it's the right. And you'll see them. As soon as you see the little white boxes, just look right at them, smile, and it's a very easy photo to get. You have to not be ducking down. That's the hard part. That's why so many people get these photo ops and end up, just kind of with their head ducked down or something like that. You want to be looking for that little white box. There's like 4 or 5 of them sitting up in the upper right-hand corner, I believe. As you go about halfway down that drop, you'll see them. You'll be able to smile for that great photo. Now let's move on to the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. This is a notoriously difficult photo to get. I have missed it many, many times. But what you're looking for is 2 different camera spots. There are photos and videos taken on this attraction, so don't be afraid to be like, yay, as you go down, you get a little slow-mo video. It's great. As you go, you'll notice it's kind of the first or second little hill as you start the attraction. On the left-hand side, if it's dark, a light appears, which is pretty cool. But you'll notice there's a camera with a little white box right there again. You'll see the camera right there. You just kind of smile right at it as you go down. The second photo op and / video op on the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is after you make your way out of the mine, up and to your, it's technically to your right, but it's taking a photo of the left. As you go down, you'll look up to the right and you'll see it as you're taking that drop after the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Again, another very difficult photo op to capture. And more often than not, I end up forgetting to look at the camera when I'm on this ride. But it's still a ton of fun, and don't be afraid to be like just waving around, having a good time, smiling, thumbs up as you're going down the ride, because it's a little slow-mo video too, which is cool. Now on to Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin. And this attraction, I gotta tell you, is a ton of fun, but I feel like I've mastered where the photo is for this one. At the very last room, when you see evil Emperor Zurg being defeated by Buzz Lightyear, you'll notice as you go through, you're kind of stuck in a position. You can't turn your car anymore. That's the big sign. When the car starts turning itself, you know you're coming up to the room after the big dark room where Zurg is flying around, right? At the very end, the second to last room, technically. Your car is getting stuck in one position. That means the photo is about to be taken, all right? This car gets stuck, photo's about to happen. As you see Zurg and his ship is all defeated, you are going to be, timing it's a little bit difficult, so don't be afraid to smile for the first, second, and third. If you see the flash and you can't figure out which time is your photo, don't be afraid to just be smiling the whole time. If you look at Evil Emperor Zurg and you look over his shoulder, right, you kind of look to the right of where he is, you'll notice two little square black boxes in the upper right corner. Again, you look at Zurg, look just to the right of where he is. I would say maybe about 7 feet or so from where he is, maybe 10 feet. There are two small black boxes right in the corner of the wall. They're sitting in the wall right there. That's where the photo is taking place, and you'll notice the flash as the photo takes place. Once you try it a few times, you'll understand which car is yours. You'll know when it's your opportunity for that photo. But if you can't figure out the timing as you go through all these photos, don't be afraid to smile for a few extra seconds, thumbs up as you go through, and it'll capture you. Now let's move on to Animal Kingdom and Dinosaur, a fan favorite at Animal Kingdom. You'll notice all those dinos are popping out at you from anywhere. You don't know where they're going to come from. At one of the very last scenes, before you make it back at the end of the adventure, the Carnosaur is there, larger than life, ready to take a bite out of you. And just before he takes that bite, there is a flash of lightning. That's the photo. Where to find the photo op is extremely difficult. If you look to just the right of where Carnosaur is, a little bit further than you think, just a little to the right, you'll notice there is a photo spot there. I can never find the camera, but I can basically look right at it every time I want to. So it's something that takes a lot of practice, kind of figuring out exactly where this camera is, but that's where it takes place. Next up, it's Expedition Everest with a Yeti that is stuck just like that, but we'll hopefully see it return to normal operation before you know it. On Expedition Everest, the photo op takes place as you exit the mountain, and the train is scared of the Yeti, and you run out of the mountain. It's the big drop as you kind of leave the mountain. So it's after the backwards part. You go backwards, you go in, then you see that shadow in the wall of the Yeti. The photo is about to happen. As you start to go forward, after you see that shadow and hear the roar of the Yeti, you go down that super long hill, right, the big drop, and as you start to go down, there's a flash right at the top. Finding the camera is kind of difficult because you have to look way up to find it, but the photo takes place just as you make your way over the drop. Fun to get a kind of very special, like, screaming photo right there. Always makes for a great photo to show to friends and family. Now let's move on to Epcot and Test Track. I believe one of the easiest photos to get on board a Disney attraction. The photo takes place as you make your way on the very special outdoor track on Test Track. You make your way through that wall. You smash through in your test vehicle. You go down the hill and you start to go straight. As you begin that straightaway, the camera is right to your right. Very easy to spot. You can just kind of smile, thumbs up right at it, and you'll be able to see it very clearly. To the right, as you're making your way just after you smash through that barricade and you start to go on the outside area. As soon as you start making it outside, photo is about to happen. An easy one to get, a lot of fun too. Now, we don't want to let that photo go on Frozen Ever After, so on this attraction, the photo takes place as you drop after you see that big snow monster and all the snowmies all around. So Elsa has already shot you back, right? You've already gone backwards. Your boat is just about to go forward again as it starts to go forward and lurch over the edge and go down that kind of mini drop right there with that big snow monster breathes on you saying, "Let it go," or "I'm free." He will. The photo takes place right there. The camera's very difficult to spot. You have to look up and to your left just a bit. Very difficult photo. Like, the actual camera is hard to spot, but that's where the photo takes place. Now on to Disney's latest attraction, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. And I've got to tell you, this is one of the most difficult photo ops to get. I finally was able to get it right. I finally found it, but it took me many rides on this attraction to actually find where the camera was. This takes a lot of practice. There's no easy way to describe how this happens, but these are some spoilers, by the way, for Guardians, but spoilers for all the other rides too. As you launch backwards on Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, you launch backwards and you start to go up. As you start to go up, the vehicle turns. During that turn is where the photo takes place. The hard part is knowing where to look when it's turning and like when the photo takes place. Basically, it's taking place just as you make your way past the halfway point in the turn. You'll see a lot of yellow lights in the sky. There's, of course, a lot of flashes for the camera taking a photo of you. The best way for me to describe this to you is to look straight out of your vehicle and then just slightly right. Not that much. Don't look too much. I looked too much one time. It looked super weird. So you look straight out of the vehicle and slightly right, like 10 degrees right. Very minimal. and then you'll be able to catch at least a part of where you're looking. You may not look directly at the lens of the camera, again, very hard to see, but you'll have a general sense. You're kind of looking straight in this attraction. It takes place right as you go over that the backwards launch and you're turning around. That's where the photo takes place. Now on to Hollywood Studios and the Tower of Terror. This attraction has a photo and usually a small video as well. It usually takes place just at the beginning of the drop. How do you know it's about to happen? You go through the attraction and there will be the stars that kind of coalesce into the two lines that open up to go into the shaft of the elevator shaft, right? So you go out there, and once you're out there, you'll either feel a drop or a rise, depending on it's random, so you don't know what's going to happen. But once you make it to one of the earlier rises, you will very clearly see like a lot of square boxes right at the top of where you're looking out. It's early in the drop cycle, right? Very early. You look a lot like it's like 4, 5, 6 of these black boxes right in front of your view, right at the top. Those are the slow motion cameras and photos. You can look right at them and just kind of be like, whoa, as you're about to drop down in the Tower of Terror. It happens very early in the drop cycle, and it can be a little bit difficult to time exactly, especially if you're relatively new to Tower of Terror, but if you go enough times, you'll find it for sure. Slinky Dog Dash in Toy Story Land is another great photo to capture. It happens right at the end of the attraction. So as you're going on Slinky Dog Dash, after the second launch, there are these bumps. You go up and down and up and down and up and down. As that's happening, you know the photo is about to take place. You turn to your left. As you're going to your left, the photo is about to happen. Make sure you look to your right. There are two of these 6 blocks stacked on top of each other. Inside one of those stacks of blocks, you'll notice a flash, and the other one is a camera. So you just look at the little black square inside of these stacked boxes, and you'll notice the camera lens right there. You kind of look right at it, smile, and you'll be able to capture that great photo on Slinky Dog Dash. Another relatively easy one to capture. Last up is Rock and Roller Coaster by Aerosmith, a spectacular attraction. The photo takes place at the launch. Of course, you'll hear the countdown, 3, 2, 1, and then bang, there you go. As you make your way out, smile right then, because that's when the photo is happening. Technically, it's happening to the right side of the vehicle, but trying to actually find the lens in this attraction is something that I haven't done yet. I just kind of look straight, smile, and the photo takes off just like that. But I have yet to actually find the lens of this photo op for Rock and Roller Coaster at Hollywood Studios. So don't be afraid to just kind of look forward or slightly to your right to capture where that photo is taking place. Now, if you're like me and love finding those cameras on board the attraction so you know exactly where to smile when the photo takes place, let me know in the comments below. And if you've never tried this before and you're looking forward to trying it on your next Disney adventure, also let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much to our patrons for making all of our videos possible, and thank you for watching. Until next time, have a magical day and see you real soon.